In scene 12, we added a bit at the beginning, which was someone sat on a chair facing backwards for Bonnie to put a plaster on their head and send them off. This was partially to add a moment of orientation to show the audience that we're back in the hospital, but also to link with the other two scenes going on, because in this scene in particular, we mimicked them all, so all of them had one person sat at the front facing backwards. This was mainly to show the audience that they're all linked and that they are all generations, in case the audience haven't picked up on that yet. I think in this scene, Bonnie's quite curt when talking towards Luke. I think it's partially to do with the stress of the job, but also to do with everything that's happened, because I feel like scene 10 and 11 are quite close to scene 12, because 11, I think, is her lashing out against Joe after scene 10. And then scene 12 is like the aftershock of all of that and it finally catching up on her. So I feel like they're all within about a month or 2 months of each other. And that's why Bonnie would act this way in scene 12. We also added in a clipboard for Bonnie. This was mainly just so Bonnie had something to do in the gaps in which nothing is said, and the reason why Luke asks Bonnie if she's ignoring him. Bonnie goes on to say, "You just asked if I have somewhere else I need to be." I said this quite passive-aggressively, as if to say, oh, do you not realise that I'm running an A&E department? Do you not realise that I've got so many other things that I need to do? And you're here distracting me, wanting me to go tend to your mother, even though she's barely got anything wrong with her. I thought about that line a lot, but I think that was the one that I came to and I thought was the most effective in terms of her journey throughout this scene. Bonnie says the nurses are due to come anyway. Throughout that whole little area, it's very much as if Bonnie's talking down to Luke as if she's better than him, and anything that she says will be a lot smarter than what he says, and anything he says he's not fully thought through. Bonnie goes on to say, "Well, I'm a doctor and I've seen her," as if saying, "Oh, your problem's solved, so can you go away and let me get on with my job?" I feel like Luke wouldn't take it that way. He'd take it more as in a bad way, as if to say, I think he'd think that Bonnie's saying it as if she's better than him. But I think Bonnie's saying it more the fact that, "Oh, well, I've seen her and that's what you wanted, so can you let me go get on with what I need to do?" Bonnie then goes on to have a long paragraph about all the different patients that she needs to tend to, during which, before each one, she would check the clipboard and then point to where they would be. I think this one had a lot of subtext in, because she was saying the different patients that she had to go to, mainly just so Luke would understand that if she were to go check on her mother's ankle, one of these would end up not being seen for a long time and end up being in a lot of pain. So it's more Bonnie asking Luke, "Who do you want me to sacrifice to help your mother? Who do you want to go through that amount of pain while I'm going to check on your mother who doesn't need to be checked on?" After a while, Bonnie says, "You haven't got any other fucking options." This is her first time swearing in this scene, and I feel like there are quite a few different options of how to say it, because she could either put emphasis on fucking, because it is the first time she's swearing and it is quite angry and emotive, but it could also be a lot calmer and passive aggressive and have a lot of subtext behind it. I went for more of the emphasis one and slightly more angry, so that she can have more of a journey throughout the scene, because later on in the scene she apologises quite a lot. So Bonnie and Luke then goes on to say offering. Bonnie says, I'm offering to help, and then Luke says offering to do your job. I feel like there's quite a lot of difference between the tone between the two of them. Bonnie is a lot more aggressive, saying, I'm offering to help, can you not just leave me alone and let me get on with my job? And if I'm offering to help, then it's because I'm kind and I'm letting her take priority over someone else that should have it. But Luke saying it in much more of a factual way, saying, oh, you're offering to do your job, this is what you're meant to do, you're not meant to be annoyed at any of the patients, you're meant to be kind and helpful and nice. Luke then goes on to say all the different things that she should be, and after he says humanity, it's very much Bonnie getting shocked out of what she's thinking about, and she realises what's just happened, and she repeats the word humanity, but it doesn't have a capital letter at the beginning, which means that she says it very quietly with very little emphasis. But that itself gives it a lot of emphasis because it's so different to what how she's been like up until then. Because of that, I had to think about how to say it, because it had to be quiet enough that it would stand out for being so different, but it also had to be loud enough so people would hear that she is still saying it and that she is realising everything that's happening. She then goes on to apologise a lot, and I had to think about why she was apologising, whether it would be because she's genuinely sorry or she doesn't want to lose her job or anything like that. I think it was mainly genuine just because she realises what she's just done and how much pain she could have caused him. But then I think it does have a slight amount of it's slightly about herself as well, and the fact that if she carried on the way she was, then potentially he could have gone to her senior and spoken to them about it. But she wouldn't want that because she drowns herself in her job and completely immerses herself within it. So if she lost it, then she wouldn't know what to do. Up until this point, Bonnie has definitely suppressed her emotions, other than scene 10 when she let it out, but even then she only let it out in an angry way. So I think it definitely comes out in the scene, and it shows that she has a problem with suppressing them, because normal people would just allow themselves to feel these emotions and allow themselves to feel what they have to and do what they have to just to keep some sort of control. But then when she starts apologising to him, it's obvious that she has some sort of control over it, because she's able to take control and go back to how she should be. But it's still obvious that she's falling apart because she did go that far off the edge and got that angry. So I think this is one of the first signs to the fact that she is falling apart and that her past is catching up to her, and that she might not be able to carry on the way she does for much longer.